The speaker today will be Aaron McConnell, U.S. Army, present rank of First Lieutenant. Aaron was born on November 22nd, 1976, in Fort Worth, Texas. He is married to Cindy McConnell, and the daughter of Kathy Jackson. He has a bachelor's degree in animal production from Tarleton State in 1999, and a master's degree in security studies from Angelo State in 2014. His military education is a Phase 1 ECCC and EBLC in Air Assault. Aaron's federal awards are Bronze Star Medal, Army Reserve Component Achievement Medal, National Defense Service Medal, Afghanistan Campaign Medal with 1 Bronze Service Star, Global War on Terrorism Service Medal, Military Outstanding Volunteer Service Medal, Army Service Ribbon, Overseas Service Ribbon, Armed Forces Reserve Medal with M device, Meritorious Unit Citation. And his state medals include a Texas Combat Service Ribbon, Texas Federal Service Medal, Texas Humanitarian Service Award, Texas Faithful Service Medal. Foreign awards, he has a NATO Service Medal. Aaron's civilian affiliations are the American Legion, the National Eagle Scout Association, and the National Rifle Association. Aaron served as commander of Wildfire Force Protection Team during the summer of 2011 when the Wildcat and Whitehat fires occurred, as well as several hundred other fires. From June 2012 to July 2013, Operation to the area surrounding Kabul, Afghanistan. Please join with me to welcome Aaron McConnell.
It's okay if everybody can hear me all right. I may not use the the loudspeaker. Can everybody hear me okay? Yeah? All right. So first of all, I'd like to thank everybody for coming out here. This is a pretty important tradition. Appreciate y'all carrying it on. In order to memorialize everyone who's given the ultimate sacrifice in their service for this country. And this tradition dates back to, and there's some debate on it, but as near as I can tell, 1868, known as Decoration Day, in which the civilians came and decorated all the headstones to all the soldiers that served during the Civil War. Now this eventually evolved into Memorial Day, and which was to be held on May the 30th, and then evolved into the nearest Monday shortly thereafter, so people could have a 3-day weekend. There's some debate on whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. I'd say that people who don't need to go to school think that's a good thing. However, I'd urge to not just remember this as a day off of school or a day off of work or a day to have a sale in town, but also to remember the true meaning of it. That we had a lot of individuals that paid the ultimate sacrifice in defense of this country. 70 years ago next week, there was a remarkable endeavor. Y'all all know June 6th is D-Day, which some gentlemen, not unlike this one here, stormed the beach of Normandy. And they ultimately saved the world. It took a couple years, but they saved this world. They paid the ultimate. There were many that paid the ultimate sacrifice for that in defense of not only the United States, but in defense of the defenseless. One thing that those gentlemen figured out, which is very similar to what the Korean War veterans, the Vietnam veterans, and everybody else figured out very quickly, was that there is good and evil in this world. And that it's come across, and it's incumbent upon the soldiers, the sailors, the Marines, the airmen, and from here on I'm going to just say soldiers. So those of you that are sailors and airmen, don't take umbrage at that. It's just for time savings more than anything else. But those individuals that were serving for this country figured out that there is good and evil in this world. And it's been the burden of the American soldier to fight for the defenseless. And they did it. They did it in World War II. They did it in Korea. Did it in Vietnam. And now we do it in Iraq and ultimately Afghanistan. This time last year I was in and around Kabul, Afghanistan. And what I did there, actually the jobs are fairly extensive because they like to abuse lieutenants, I was the operations officer in charge for the engineering cell, but I was also responsible for conducting stability operations. Now what does that mean? Well, there's a couple of things. We've all heard the term hearts and minds. That's basically what stability operations is. It's not only are you protecting the civilization around there and the civilian population, but you're also trying to bolster them for taking care of themselves. So in addition to being a force protection officer and protecting the structures of our soldiers, I was also building schools, building parks, and going out into the populace doing foot patrols and presence patrols for these towns. And that too is where you run into the fact that there is good and evil. The literacy rate of the Afghan population is up to 26% now, and it's up to 26% because the American and Allied forces are there. And we all know an uneducated population is one in which one's fragile, and so we realize as individuals there that it's important to educate the population and to build things for these people. But in doing so, and being out there in the villages around there, and there's several, Udkill, Pogman, all these areas that nobody's ever heard of, and I don't ever want to hear of again, is are two sorts of people. There's people that want good things for their country, that want their young ladies educated. And then there's others that want quite the opposite, that want to destroy everything good in that country. And you see them both. And that's the burden that the American soldier puts upon itself, is that we are there to protect the defenseless. So in addition to that good and evil that the American soldier has to deal with, the soldier that returns is never the same person that got on that plane when he left, because that portion of that person died too, because the is out there is one that nobody else wants to realize. As American citizens, we don't want to recognize good and evil. And that's something that the American soldier, thankfully, is willing to do for the people. That's one thing that we definitely need to recognize, is that these burdens that we take, that the American soldiers take, is one that even if they do survive, things are different. But the other thing I'd like to point out is that the soldier isn't the only one that serves. The spouses definitely bear a cost too, and oftentimes that's not recognized very well either. That they hold everything together while that soldier's gone, and they put everything back together once they return. I can tell you that whenever I went to Afghanistan, the first person to move in was Murphy. and Murphy's Law reigns supreme while we're gone. Everything that can go wrong will go wrong on a deployment. And Cindy took care of everything for us while I was gone, with dignity and grace like she always does. And for that, I'm eternally thankful as well. So, as well as I tell people that I'm not in the military, that she and I are in the military. So that's something definitely that's worth mentioning. So In summation, the today's Memorial Day, and we all recognize the ultimate sacrifice, but for some individuals, every day is Memorial Day, and that can be anything from those that have lost limbs in battle to those that you lose down range, that you memorialize every day, and you have to think of every day. It's very gracious and greatly appreciated whenever I'm in uniform and Cindy and I are out, says thank you for your service. The one thing I would urge you to do is continue to do that. That's very nice, but instead of just using words, use actions too. And what I mean by that is we all see what's going on with the VA right now. I'm sure we've all seen that on TV. We need to make it important enough to our politicians to fix the VA system, or donate to the Wounded Warrior Project, or help a World War II veteran around the house, or just sit and talk to them. I can tell you, if you sit and talk to these people, these veterans, you'll get more out of it than they will. But today is the day in which we recognize it, but please make every day Memorial Day, like some of us do too. Or be sure and help our soldiers as much as we can, because they need all the help we can get. So I appreciate your time. I appreciate y'all coming out and supporting this endeavor, and I hope to never see it pass. So thanks again, and thanks for having me.
Thank you, Aaron.